In this video, I want to cover the topic of how you can really connect with your audience. Now, this is so important because the transformation of the knowledge you want to leave with the audience is so much stronger when they feel a connection, when they feel like they can relate to you, when they feel like they can trust you, and you're almost like a mentor or an instructor to them, right? They need to first see that you're like them, that you have gone through things, gone through moments in life that they can relate to. When you form that connection, you'll make sure that they believe you. They believe what you believe, they believe what you present to them. This is your goal, and that's why we want to talk about connection. The first aspect that I want to share with you to connect with your audience is vulnerability. Now, why is vulnerability so powerful? The reason is that if you're willing to bring up the courage to share those moments of your life where you were scared or felt ashamed, that's when people are trying to connect with you. That's when people are starting to really feel a connection, trust you, and believe what you say, right? So if you can think about a story from your life where you were in a moment of scary or discomfortable feelings, and then you craft that story, you deliver it, and you share it with those people so they can relate, this is when you make a difference. This is when your point comes across. So for example, I shared a story recently in the presentation about my childhood and how it was different in my childhood. More, let's say, I wasn't as confident. I wasn't as grown up in terms of the way I engaged with people. And people could relate. I could see it in their eyes. And from that moment onwards, they would believe what I say. This is the difference to if you just come on stage and you share with people a story without first giving them the opportunity to understand you, to connect with you. The second aspect I want to talk about is humor. And now you might be thinking, I'm not the type that, is a clown on stage. I don't want to deliver my content through humor. And I can relate. I really can. I'm not that type originally either. In fact, actually, I've only learned how to be more humorous recently when I understood the value of it on stage. And you don't have to crack jokes the entire time. This is not the point, and it's not authentic. What you want to do is you want to create authentic humor. You want to connect with people through things that are naturally humorous, naturally funny. How do we do this? Let's take an example. So just a few weeks ago, I was organizing an event, and I was being the moderator for that event. Now, all of the other people that are organizing this event urged me to wear this red shirt, the branded red shirt for that event. Now, I don't feel like that because, in fact, I only wear black or white shirts. That's my signature, that's my brand, and I'd like to keep it that way. Now, I said that to them, and then I got on stage and I presented that team, right? And somebody in the audience asked the same question. They're like, so why aren't you, as part of the team, wearing a red shirt? And what did I do? Instead of explaining myself, I quickly said what was the case. White shirt, black shirt, that makes me comfortable. And I pointed out in the audience a friend. And I said to him, do you think you've ever seen me in a red shirt? Do you think you've ever seen me in a shirt any other color than black or white? He responded, never. And everybody started laughing. Now that came natural, and I kind of got the help from someone in the audience. And it became humorous just out of the context. But that's how you can create humor that is authentic and effective. Everybody in the audience laughed it, and everybody in the audience felt connected. The third way to really connect well with your audience when giving a presentation is to find a way to engage them. Now, there's multiple ways to engage your audience, like asking questions or making little games that they can engage in, right? The most effective one, and also a short one for me, is that I ask the audience a question and I ask them to move as well. So that's what a lot of people do on stage. They ask the audience a question, and while doing that, they raise their hands. So they say something like, how many of you have felt like this before, right? And by mirroring what you want the audience to do, you encourage them to do it. It's much more effective than if you just ask the question. Try it yourself. If you're on stage and you ask someone, how many of you have felt this before? And you calculate how many. And you say the same thing. How many have done this before? You raise your hand. You will see many more people engaging with you. It's just a visual aid that helps them to act, right? And this way, you help them connect with you. You help them to actually understand you better. Now, here's a little tip. When you do this, how many of you have felt like this before? Now then, you give report to the audience. You tell them, oh, this is about 30%. Because if you don't do that, the audience will not understand what is actually going on. You want them to really get you. You want them to be in the flow of your presentation. So what you do is you say, oh, about 30% agree. Or you say, well, 70% disagree. So what does that mean? Now that way you've completed your connection.